Hey guys, so for this elephant bookmark, which is really adorable, you're going to need some kind of glue. It doesn't matter if it's a stick or Elmer's glue, scissors, a black Sharpie, a pencil. If you have like a colored paper or a print, like a wrapping paper, that's helpful, but not requirement. And then some kind of paper. I'm using blue construction paper that I've cut down to an 8.5 by 11, which is a regular paper size, because they do come bigger. They come 9 by 12. So you want to make sure that you don't use too big of a piece of paper. First thing you do is fold it into a triangle. So one corner up to the top, and then you'll have some extra left over, which you want to cut. So then now that I have a perfect triangle, I'm going to take both the right and the left ends and bring it up to the top of my triangle. So first the right, then the lefts, bring them up to that top. So now it's kind of like a square, and crease it. And then we're going to open it back up. Now we're going to take the tip of the triangle and bring it down to the bottom where those two creases meet. Next, we're going to take that right corner, and this one's a little bit harder, so you're going to tuck it into like the pocket that you just made. Tuck it in and crease it, and then same thing with the left. Bring up the left side and then tuck it in. So now you have like a pocket. Next, you're going to round off the four sides so that it's not square. We want it a little bit rounded. And I'm just marking it with a Sharpie, which you don't have to do. You can just eyeball it, but I wanted you to see what I was taking off. Be sure to take off especially on that corner that's the heaviest, the one that's got all the folds, because that'll allow the page of your book that you're reading, that you're marking, to sort of stick out, and it'll like hold it in place. Now that I've rounded the corners, I'm going to flip it so that all the folded stuff is facing down and on the top. And here I'm going to get out, I'm using the same color that I was using before. You don't have to, you can use the pattern, but I'm just going to pre-draw the trunk. Now, do you have to pre-draw it? No. You can just kind of eyeball it. You don't want to make the trunk too big, and that's sort of what I wind up doing, and I redraw it a little bit smaller before I cut it out, but it still winded up being a little bit big. You can test it against your bookmark to see how big it's going to wind up being, and then cut that out. Now you don't have to make the trunk curl onto itself like this. You can make it in a different style if you'd like. So then you're going to glue the trunk onto the bottom, and the video that I stole this from, which is from Red Ted Art, which is a really great YouTube channel if you want to check it out. They glued the trunk to the outside. I think it looks better on the inside, but whichever you prefer. Just a little bit of glue and then glue it to the outside or inside. Please make sure that it is the bottom, meaning the pocket part of it is on the top, which you can't really see from this angle, but I'm gluing it to the bottom. So I'm gluing it to just one sheet, not where everything's all bunched up. So now I'm going to take some leftover paper that's the same color, and I'm going to pre-draw an ear. And I doubled the paper over so that I'm cutting two ears at the same time. That'll be the exact same size. I'm doing a very cartoony elephant, so it's basically like almost like a bubble letter B. And then I cut both at the same time. I'm just checking the size to make sure that they're not too big or too small. And then, again, this is optional. If you have wrapping paper or any kind of printed paper, or even just a solid paper that's a different color, or maybe a paper that you decorated yourself. You can grab it, and what you're going to do is trace the ear that you just cut out just to get an idea of the size. And then you're going to draw another line that follows that line, but it's a little bit smaller. So you're basically keeping the same shape, but you're drawing it just a little bit smaller. So like I went a quarter of an inch about away from that original line. I'm doubling up my paper again so that I cut out two shapes that they're the exact same size. So basically I have two more ear shapes that are just a little bit smaller that are going to go right on the inside of the ears. So after I glue the wrapping paper on, I put a little bit of glue on the tips of both of those, and then I'm going to put them on the pocket side on the top of the elephant. Try to get them, eyeball it so that they're roughly the same height on the elephant, and make sure you don't cover up the little opening at the very top of the elephant, because that's where the page of your book will sort of stick out. So now I'm taking a little piece of that colored paper, and this is optional. Now the video that I stole this from, the Red Ted Art, they cut out teeny little circles. I'm actually going to do little hearts, but you can do whatever you want. And this step is also optional. So I'm folding a piece of that pattern paper in half and cutting out half a heart. I'm sure you guys know that trick. And then checking the size, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to take that same heart and I'm going to put it on the colored paper again, and I'm going to trace it so that I have the exact same size, so that I have two hearts that are exactly the same size. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each one, and I'm going to glue them down in like the cheek area. So there's little hearts on their cheek. So cute. Again, just like the ears, eyeball it and sort of make sure that they're the same height and the same position so that it's pretty symmetrical. Next, I'm going to take my black marker and draw two circles that are going to function as the eyes over each of the hearts. And then I'm going to color them in black, but just leave that very cartoony little circle that's like the shine of the eyes. I'm going to leave that and not color it in. And just throwing on some cute little eyelashes and some texture on the trunk, some curved lines to indicate a little bit of texture. And how cute is that? Those of you that know me know I'm not usually crafty or cutesy, but this is really adorable. So the way this would work is it sort of tucks onto a page. It's not like a standard bookmark. You put the page through that little pocket and it'll peek out on the other side. And here's me realizing that my trunk is just almost a little bit too long, so if you glue your trunk a little bit higher up or cut it a little bit shorter, it might be better. By the way, this is Harry Potter book 5, which is the best of the Harry Potter books. I hope you guys enjoyed